So where do we start, eh? Well, when we're talking about blankets and what it means to us as an individual people, I'm going to have to make reference to my own tribe, my own cultural group. When I was first given these lessons of what blankets meant to us, it was given to me by my parents, my grandparents. Because historically, blankets were introduced by the Fur Trade Company in the 1600s. But prior to that, what was valued for our economic purposes, for our shelter, and or for gifts for barter, was usually robes from animals. The animals could have been a buffalo, could have been a deer, could have been an elk. But as the settlers came into the provinces and came into the West, and specifically Alberta, Saskatchewan, a lot of these animals were as such were starting to become far and in between and hard to get. And the blankets, which was it first introduced, was from the Hudson Bay Company, and so this is how it was introduced to us because we used to use them. The whole concept, my grandmother would say, is when you're born, you're wrapped into a blanket, and when you pass on to the spirit world, you're given a blanket. That concept meaning, whatever when you're born, you're sort of cradled, and you're given that what a cradle depicts, which is warmth. And when you pass, you were just given that same comfort again. When we talk about blankets being the highest gift you could give to someone, it has many, many, many meanings for many different tribes. But specifically to our people, as I said, it was used for barter. When we had, when we were short of in our trading goods, for example, we would go because money itself was not, we didn't have that, but trading goods were something we would use. So when we wanted something from another tribe, let's say it may have been some wild game which we couldn't get in our area, we would offer those people blankets. My story goes back again when I think of this is with my grandmother's teaching that when you think of the barter and the barter concept too, it may have, for some people, it may have a different meaning. When I say it may have a different meaning, it was that it also depicted ceremonies. And as a ceremony blanket, we don't dance in our blankets. We don't dance with them. Yet there were some blankets that were very heavily beaded and very beautifully decorated. But again, that was just to show the status of that particular family or that particular woman or whoever made the blanket. So this again was valued as being, I guess, we think of value. We think of the value of that particular person. When we talk of blankets being the highest gift you could give to someone, in this organization and in a lot of organizations, in a lot of cultures, for example, we also use blankets for putting over someone, marking a milestone in that person's life. Going back to that same concept, it is the highest gift you could give to someone. You could give money, you could give gifts, you could give tobacco and all this stuff, but it really doesn't have its meaning until you go back to my original statement of how you were born with blankets and what it means. But when we have graduation here, previously we would give out what we normally do, like gifts to the participants, certificates, which we still do. But some of this concept of giving blankets and wrapping blankets came out of their own mouths and reminding me that this is a gift, that it's a very high gift that you give to someone. And for them, they wanted to look at this concept as a milestone, a stepping stone on where their next process of their career is going. This milestone of getting delegated and going through a training program to get to that delegation gives them a milestone of where they're going to go from there. Hence the fact that they've graduated from one level to another level. Another example for honoring and for blanketing. When someone you have known for a period of time has contributed part of their life to us, which meaning if they may be working here and they moved on to different situations or different a different life, from just a different place. What we do is, like maybe in some jobs, their job may have been stressful. There may have been some anxieties in this job. So we always say when you leave one place, the Creator always gives you a different direction. So part of this honoring we do, because we go back to that concept, when we're brought into this world, we're given a blanket, and when we leave this world, we're also wrapped in the blanket. You could use that metaphor to some degree, but what you can use here is an honoring concept. When we had our two ladies that left here, who had given their time and had given their knowledge, or rather shared their knowledge and shared part of their life with us on a day-to-day basis, we honored them by blanketing them and telling them the story of what these blankets meant. That we had to thank them specifically for what gifts they gave to us and what energies they have given us and what everything around that concept. So what we can do in reciprocation is just say, we honor you by this concept. Another comment we have to make when we're talking about the ceremonies and the honoring of blanketing is that although there are common threads sometimes between my culture, which is the Plains people, and the people of the West Coast, which is here on Vancouver Island and the Pacific West Coast, blankets to them carries much the same concept. But they dance in their blankets, and to them, it's not necessarily used as for warmth for that concept, but for ceremonial. Because on their blankets, you'll see a lot of their clans, and you'll see their clans may come from the eagle, they may come from the whale, they may come from the raven, or they may come from another one depicting the individual story of that family. As for us, my concept here for honoring blanket is basically coming from my own perspective. We didn't have the button blankets. We did not have that whole theory or honoring theory that the Pacific West Coast people use within their button blankets. And this is still an honoring concept, still a beautiful concept, but still not to get mixed up with my concept. That's it.